दिखा दो, हम देख लेंगे।
Are we live?
Yes, we're live.
Please guide. Are we live?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are live.
A very good evening to all of you. I see Shanu Goyal, Secretary, Women Members Empowerment Committee of ICAI. Welcome all of you in our today's VCM on the theme Women Professionals Empowerment to Excellence. Today being International Women's Day is an apt occasion to recognize our strength, our abilities, and what all we can achieve if we set our minds to it. To deliberate on our today's theme, we have eminent speakers and dignitaries with us. Before requesting Shripriya Ma'am, Chairperson, Women Members Empowerment Committee, to continue with the conduction of the program, I would like to briefly introduce her to our participants. She qualified in 1996 with 17th rank in CA finals and initially worked in industry before coming into practice. She was in Regional Council ICAI in 2012 and then from 2013 to 16. She was Central Council member from 2016 to 19 and has now been re-elected from 2022 to 2025. Along with Women Members Empowerment Committee, she is also Chairperson, Corporate Laws and Corporate Governance Committee of ICAI. Over to you, Madam, for taking the proceedings ahead.
Thank you, Shanu, and the President and Vice President, sir, who will join us very, very shortly. My Vice Chairperson, Preeti Savla from the Women Members Empowerment Committee. My very, very distinguished council colleagues whom you see on the screen. And to the larger members of the fraternity, ladies and gentlemen, here's a very, very hearty good evening to all of you. And at the outset, Happy Women's Day. It's actually Happy Women's Day every day, but we just choose a particular day to celebrate, like we celebrate other festivals. So on behalf of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, I take great pleasure in inviting you to this event this evening, this very happy, bright evening. I have been given the task of, doing this program with my Preeti Savla from Mumbai. And the theme that we've chosen for the committee this year or deliberating on is From Empowerment to Excellence. Women professionals from empowerment to excellence. So the entire evening today is going to be sort of centered around this theme in whatever we do and whatever we deliberate or discourse. I'd like to start with a small quote from the Bhagavad Gita. It's in chapter 10. And this is stated by Lord Krishna, and he says, Mrityu sarva haraschaham ud bhavishya bhavishyatam kirtir shrivaksha narinam drithir meda kritikshama. Essentially, he goes on to say, of all qualities, of all these great qualities are essentially mine. They're effeminate and they're mine. So need no greater sanctions than from the Upanishads and the Bhagavad Gita themselves to say women have always been empowered. The earliest Vedic scholars were Gargi and Maitreyi. They were women. History, whether it's ancient or contemporary history or the present times, are replete with women achievers. You have the Rani Jhansi, you had Mrs. Indira Gandhi, you have our current Finance Minister, Mrs. Nirmala Sitaraman, Honorable Finance Minister. We've had several heads of state, whether it's in the US, whether it's in the United Kingdom or Sri Lanka. We've had enormous instances of very, very successful women. One thing I've always been very concerned about is when we talk of these women achievers, we tend to view a lot of women, the entire band of women, as one diffused kind of situation on one side. And then we pick people and call them achievers. I have a slightly different view on this. I think every lady, and particularly every lady chartered accountant, is an achiever. There's no question of picking and choosing. And are we empowered? I think we are a truly privileged lot. We have the best education and we've passed one of the best exams in the country. And so I believe all of us are truly empowered. And from now on, we should actually move to our march on what we as a committee propose to do. We want to be very clear, define very categoric and structured initiatives that will actually empower or move women members from empowerment to excellence. And these include we'd like to see women going through leadership workshops, whether it's to lead your office or to lead an organization or be part of the national mainstream. You need to have leadership skills on which I think we can all be coached better. The second is we have an enormous amount of unearthed talent. Nurture them, cultivate them, and ensure that we have more professional speakers, not only in ICI, but in every other professional platform in this country. The third significant aspect that we'd like to work on is independent directors. Happened to actually also read a newspaper article wherein the FM was quoted as saying there are not enough people willing to come forward. So we're going to make a very genuine attempt to match this demand and supply gap. There seems to be an enormous demand. Many positions are unfilled. There's an enormous amount of supply. So maybe somebody has to just put in that effort to, again, train, cultivate, and nurture independent directors, proposed independent directors or potential independent directors, and offer them. Additionally, we're looking at trying to enable flexi staffing in a slightly more definitive manner than we have attempted in the past. And again,
recording in progress.
Our male counterparts. And at this time, I must also place on record my appreciation to the men members of this fraternity who actually work with us on a daily basis and have actually gotten us to the places where we currently are. So thank you very, very much. And it's over to my Vice Chairperson, Preeti Savla, to take over for the remaining part of the evening.
Thank you, Shri Priya Madam. So first of all, let me wish a very happy International Women's Day to all of you. Very respected council colleagues over here at present. I'm very privileged and happy today that on this eve of International Women's Day, we are celebrating together along with my all senior council colleagues. So I would like to recognize them, each one of them, for being here. So we have very senior council colleague with us, CS Nandaji from North. We have Shri Ranjit Kumarji from East. We have CF Vishal Doshi ji from West. We have CS CV Chittaleji from West. We have CA Prasanna Kumarji from South. We have CA Rajendra Kumarji again from South. We have CA Pramod Kumarji Jain from Delhi North. We have CA Abhay Chajerji from Central. We have CA Mangesh Kinareji from West. And we have CA Kothaji again from South. So I really thank each one of you to joining over here and extending all your support in the council and for celebration of this Women's Day over here. So on the request, they have joined. So my appreciation and loud applause to each one of you. So we have more than 2,000 members, participants at present, and will be joining more. Our respected Vice President Sir and President Sir will be joining very soon. But we have at present, I'm not taking time because we have very crucial time. We have to start with all the dignitaries, the panelists who have given us time. But we have CA, CCM Kemisha Soni, who is a senior Central Council member, who is also a woman, and she is traveling and her flight will start soon. So I request her to please, she has also, even if she is traveling, she has agreed to join and address. So I request her to give her special address.
Thank you. Thank you, Vice Chairperson.
Thank you.
To all my council colleagues and Chairperson WMEC.
Happy Ski Day.
Thank you. Thank you.
So first, I wish everyone a very happy International Women's Day. And before
Thank you.
starting, I would like to give one quote related to that. If you educate a man, you educate a man. You educate a woman and you educate a generation. This famous quote by Brigham Young emphasizes the role of education to the women. ICI recognizing its role and responsibilities to the stakeholder community at large has identified women member empowerment as one of the high point agenda, because last year also this committee has been constituted and so many initiative has already been take place. So here there is immense potential that lie embedded and is still vastly untapped and need to be harnessed in the interest of our profession, our society and our nation. So with that, our very objective, ICI observes is preferred to encourage Sri Shakti to come forward and take lead role in finance area aligned with women in other areas. So the society and the company and somewhere stakeholder management plays a major role in the women empowerment. Few suggestions from my side for women empowerment I would like to add, because this time our chairperson is Shri Priya and co-chairperson is Preeti Savla madam. So just I would like to convey. One point is that the willingness of company management and strategic implementation of the plan to have more C-suite women CAs will have to be as a focus area, because this year our CLCG committee also headed by Shri Priya madam and Shri Priya. So I would suggest that like women independent director and other position, top position in corporate level also, we can represent over there also. And we can also identify so many opportunity related to that for specifically our women chartered accountants. As you all are aware, dear friends, we have taken so many initiatives. We have compiled more than 100 professional opportunity and we have uploaded it on our women member empowerment portal also. And we have also last year launched job opportunity related portal, so our women member can explore that also. One more thing I would like to mention about that SDG 5 also. Coincidentally, Preeti Savla, Vice Chairperson of that Sustainable Reporting Board also. So I would suggest that we should have like that type of publications related to SDG 5 gender equality, and we can represent to various authority and regulators also regarding that. And one point is also that salaries to be fixed by companies for position and making it free from person and gender sensitiveness. So respecting a woman is more beautiful than telling a woman that she is beautiful. With these words, I extend my Women Day wishes to all the women members of the profession. Wish you all a very happy Women's Day. Thank you very much, and over to Preeti.
Thank you, Kemisha madam, for your suggestions. And I know you are always there with us to take the activities of the committee further for the advancement and upliftment of women members empowerment committee. Thank you for your address and your time. Thank you very much. Again, friends, as it has been said that today morning when we were discussing how many female chartered accountants are there and why Women's Day is only celebrated and not Men's Day. So then everyone in the council also says that, men is there in women automatically. So it is said it is celebrated everything. Again, I feel extremely happy to be amongst you all of you today. The women professionals empowerment to excellence is not just a theme for today's VCM, but is also our theme for this year, as it is said by our chairperson, Shri Priya Madam. And we will try to help you, assist you, and support you in your journey at all your endeavors towards excellence, since women in themselves are highly empowered. You all will agree with me that only an empowered person can handle the work pressure, family commitments, society obligations, and still be happy. And we women have this ability by birth. I strongly believe empowerment of women means progress for all. The path to progress is never too easy to follow, but we must walk with perseverance in order to change the public opinion for women, and also encourage them to take all the opportunities they can to show the leadership in their families, their communities, and their workplaces. Women CAs contribute to the growth of the nation in various areas like accountancy, direct tax, indirect tax, company law matters, strategic decision making, and many more regulatory matters. The Institute has come forward to equip women members in meeting the challenges likely to be faced by them, and would give you them edge in developing the contemporary professional capabilities. And considering the women empowerment as agenda, this committee has been formed in 2014. And this year, friends, as our chairperson, Madam Shri Priya Madam has said, we have a lot of things to come on this. Starting with the training workshops for the women who have taken the break in their career, we will be planning various half-day seminars, full-day conferences, residential refresher course. We will be planning conferences, international study tour, and again, mentorship programs we have proposed. Again, meeting is yet to happen, and we will we'll put up these to the committee meeting and see that all these things can happen. In mentorship program, we will be giving one-to-one mentoring to the mentees, women mentees by the women mentors whom they require. So these are the lot of plans are there. We'll be also coming up with some women achievers awards. Let us see how it goes. However, today we have very, very delightful and powerful panel. The power lies with the panel today from empowerment to excellence, and where we have very four dignified panelists on panel with us. Starting, I will briefly introduce the panel members, and then the panel discussions will be taken up by Shri Priya Madam in the beginning as a moderator. So beginning with Shri Bhavna Doshi, she is a past Central Council member of ICAI, and I believe she is the first Central Council member as a woman in the Institute. Again, she has qualified as a chartered accountant and has got second rank in the intermediate as well as in the CA final examination, and was first among all. This was the first time she has got among all the lady candidates. She also holds the master degree in the commerce from University of Mumbai. She is also a founder partner of Bhavna Doshi and Associates LLP, an advisory firm specialized into the field of corporate advisory services, and has been providing tax and advisory servicing since last over 4 decades. She serves as an independent director on the board of several listed companies. She was the president of Indian Merchant Chamber and continues to be actively associated with its activities. She has also served as a committees of CCI and currently member of Managing Committee of SOK. So we welcome you, CA Bhavna Doshi, the past Central Council member. We have with us CA Vishakha RM. He has held the Managing Director and CEO of India First Life Insurance Company Limited since 2015. And under her strong leadership, the company has recorded a significant growth rate and steadily risen in industry ranking. She has been ranked among the top 50 Fortune India's most powerful women in business 3 times in a row, that is 2017, 18, and 19. She has also been bestowed with the most influential woman by Business World magazine, and recognizing her achievement, ICAI bestowed Vishakha with the prestigious award of CA Business Leader Women 2017. A thought leader, Vishakha co-chairs the Pension and Insurance Committee of CII. She is also an esteemed member of National Council of Insurance, ASOCHEM, committee member of FICCI, and charter member of Ex-Qualify by AIWMI. She is an independent director on the board of NRB Bearings Private Limited. She also has been on executive committee of Life Insurance Council. With this brief introduction, let us invite and welcome CA, our beloved panelist, CA Vishakha RM. We have our another panelist, CA Bhavani, Mrs. Bhavani Balasubramanian. She is also a chartered accountant, also company secretary, and had been a partner with, was a partner with Fraser and Ross and Deloitte, with the extensive experience in the auditing variety of clients, including listed companies and multinational in the different industry in India as well as abroad. She has been more than 4 decades of audit experience, which includes 20 years as a partner in the firm and 4 years of overseas experience. She is independent director on the boards of prominent public companies in Chennai. She is currently the chief strategist, diversity evaluation for Avatar, handling diversity assessments and training for corporates. She has trained over 8,000 women participants in the leadership skills, a certified ISO auditor with the expertise in ISO 30414 on human capital reporting and ISO 30415 human resource management, diversity and inclusion. And with these brief introduction, let us invite and welcome CA Bhavani Balasubramaniam on this distinguished panel. We have again on the panel CA Sangeeta Shankaran. Sangeeta is a CFO turned business and leadership coach, contributing by enabling high performance and enhancing financial growth. She is on the mission to enable, empower, and elevate the businesses with a purpose to serve corporate leaders and teams to shine and succeed. She brings along rich experience of 25 years with multinationals, and her latest position was Executive Director and CFO of Dun & Bradstreet Technologies. She is a CA and also management accountant and completed executive education from Harvard Business School. She is a high-performance business coach from International Coaching Federation, PCC, TEDx speaker, and best-selling author. The accolades received are Nightingale Award by the Society of Auditors, Leading Woman CFO, Innovator in Finance awarded 100 Inspiring Authors of India, and Outstanding Professional Award by FICCI. And all of you will agree that we have a most powerful panel today. And with this not taking much time of all of you, I request Shri Priya to directly start with the panel discussion. And once again, I welcome all my distinguished panelists. Welcome all of you, and thank you for agreeing and being on this panel on the eve of International Women's Day. Over to Shri Priya.
Thanks, Preeti, for having started off this program aplomb. So great, and here's a very hearty welcome to Mrs. Bhavani Balasubramaniam, Mrs. Bhavna Doshi, Sangeeta Shankaran Sumesh, who's an old friend, and to Vishakha, who's yet to join us. And I've had the proud privilege of knowing all of you. Bhavna Doshi, ma'am, I've read a lot about you, and I've heard a lot about you, having sort of come into the council after you. And there was always this constant, a remark of Bhavna Ben. So we know you more than you think we know you. So Mrs. Bhavani, who's been an absolute personal inspiration. I'm yet to come across somebody who would have been a partner in a large firm who was who'd do her own driving, who'd manage the cooking, and still be there bang on dot for every CPE program that you invited her. She was phenomenal, and I would sort of just look at her wonderstruck when she sort of drove in. And Sangeeta, who's had a very different life altogether, and she's sort of she'd easily qualify to be our digital social media guru. So she's pretty strong on Facebook, and she's a published author. She does a lot of work for empowering organizations, especially small organizations, on how to handle finance. So in fact, one of her books is called What the Finance, and it's I'm told a bestseller as well. So to all of you, wonderful ladies, here's a very, very hearty good evening to all of you. And we're actually running a little ahead of schedule. So that's a nice thing. And we have, unfortunately, our president and vice president are stuck in a government meeting. So they've not been able to make it, but they've offered to come in towards the end of the program, and they'd sort of share their insights. And we have a pretty nice team. This year is also a pretty historic year for ICAI because for the first time, we have 3 women members on the Central Council, and many women in the regional councils and in the branches. The chairman of the Southern region was mentioning to me that out of 45 branches, I think 10 have women at the helm of affairs, which is a nice thing to happen. So I'd, without much ado, straight away go to some questions. And Sangeeta, welcome to Vishaka as well, whom I've had the privilege of sharing a dais somewhere abroad. I don't recollect whether it was Qatar or Bahrain or Dubai. So welcome, Vishaka. Sangeeta.
Qatar, Sri Priya. We met in Qatar.
Yeah. Hi, Vishaka. How are you? And nice to see you. So we'll start off with the first question to Mrs. Bhavna. Ma'am, you've been a rank holder, very, very accomplished, 2nd rank in CA Inter and 2nd rank in CA Final, a senior advisor in a very, very large firm, the president of IMC. Would you like to just encapsulate your journey in a few words?
Thank you, Shrupriya. First of all, wishes to all the participants for a wonderful Women's Day today and a lovely year ahead throughout for all women. And of course, we would like men also to do the same and wish us. So, and thank you for that introduction. And I was about to say that this year we have a very unique situation where we have 3 women who are for the first time in the Central Council. And in a sense, I've known each one of you, Shrupriya, though we have not been meeting. We have met few times here and there, but I was following the work that you were doing during COVID time. Wonderful, wonderful work. Have you helped everyone? Preeti, of course, I know because she's from Mumbai and we've been interacting continuously, particularly when she was in the regional council. And Kemisha also have been interacting with her. So each one of you are so accomplished and will really do so well in the council. So it's really nice. And of course, all my panelists today, it's together. Each one is a accomplished person, a woman in their own space. Really looking forward to this session. So thank you very much for inviting me, for joining here today. And as you said, when I look back at the academic career, it was way back. It's very old time. And as I jokingly say, it was then, and we are now in today's time. So it's now. But yeah, it's been a wonderful journey. Really, really had very good time, exciting time throughout. There are always challenges which come our way, but then we work around them. All of us women are really, in a sense, so powerful in our own way that we work around whatever challenges come, but so long as we have the desire to achieve what we want to achieve, we achieve that. So it's been quite interesting journey, I should say, from the time that I qualified. And of course, those days are also so fresh in our mind when we were doing our articleship and, working with the whole team. It was such a collaborative effort. And in those days, we also had the opportunity, which is even continuing today, of attending this residential courses, seminars, study circles, which also gave us an opportunity of learning from each other and understanding a lot of things. Then, of course, came the professional career, where I had the opportunity of working with and who's my mentor and guru, Bansi Bhai, for several years, who was the past president of the institute as well, Mr. Bansi Mehta. So did articles with him and then worked with him as partner for several years. It was a fantastic experience working on a variety of assignments. Then joined the RSM, which was a firm set up to, in a sense, Indian large firm. That was the vision. And then I joined KPMG so Bharat S. Raut and Company, the KPMG's India partner. So worked there as a partner and then a senior advisor. So it's given me a lot of different opportunities to work in different areas. So as we go along, we'll discuss maybe some of them. But thank you, Priya.
And what I really liked about this, I could see happiness wrought on your face. I mean, from the time you started, you've been smiling continuously. So it's very obvious that you've enjoyed your journey. And now it's over to Vishaka. Vishaka, you're very uniquely positioned as the MD and CEO of India First Life. We rarely come across chartered accountants occupying CEO positions. Of course, there have been a few in the past. What do you think are the sort of the highlights of this journey?
I think first of all is that I never really aspired to be a CEO when I started. People ask me how did you plan your entire career? I don't think I really planned it. But there were 2 or 3 very clear values that I lived by. That is, giving better than your best at all times. And the moment you've actually mastered something, seeking the next challenge, always trying to seek your next challenge. What do you do? And I think the third one is really never give up, and keep challenging yourself to do more and to do better. I have also been lucky to have had people help me at the right times. Yes, I have had my share of bad luck. I've had my share of having to change jobs because I got uncomfortable working with the bosses I used to work with, change jobs because my bosses got insecure about how I was. So it's not that I haven't had that, but I've also had my share of people who encouraged me to do more. I think the 2-3 turning points in life, is one, when I chose to move to sales. I think being a chartered accountant, working in finance was an obvious choice. And from there, an ability to move to sales, I think really did a lot, because I suddenly learned the meaning of managing the balance sheet, managing the profit center. I think managing a profit center and then growing from there really helped. The other turning point in life is when, as a head of sales, and I remember this incident distinctly because that's when I realized the difference that my qualification had made to me. Is as I was working as president sales and marketing, and as head of sales, I kept pushing for a control on the cost of acquisition. And I kept pushing on pricing and understanding details of pricing and saying, how much budget does the pricing give? How much can we spend? And I remember my CFO walking up to me and saying, you're the first sales head I have ever seen who has cared about the expenses of the company. You're the first person I have seen who has not said to the CEO, do you want top line or bottom line? Tell me one of those. I was the first person apparently who turned around and said that, no, I understand we have to deliver a profitable top line. I did not realize until then how much the inculcation of what we learn as our curriculum to be a chartered accountant, in terms of balancing your top line with the bottom line, in terms of making sure that you have a holistic balance sheet view, was ingrained in me, that even as head of sales, I didn't behave like a typical salesperson and say, if you want these results, give me these resources. But I said, okay, can the company really give it? How is it possible? What should be the profitable? I think it is that those basic qualities of not giving up and continuing to raise the bar, combined with the acumen that you develop because of your professional training, that has really helped in my journey.
Thanks, Vishaka. And I really liked two things, of course, in what you said. One was to move out of one's comfort zone. I think it's so nice to just go back to that lovely couch and just do your coffee. And it takes a lot of ability and courage, more importantly, to move away from a comfort zone. And I think that's something very important for any professional, and more so women who want to break out and do something big. And the second thing is maybe, things like cost control come very naturally to women. I don't know. So like there were these surveys where they say the Norwegian companies are doing better because they have more women on their boards. So I don't know if there is a correlation, but yeah, but we did see when we were young, our mothers were keeping accounts. So over to Bhavani ma'am, and thanks Vishaka. And Bhavani ma'am, you've been the partner of a very large firm. And for a long time, you were one of the few women partners of big firms in the South. I mean, I didn't know too many who's juggling a more than full-time career and family. And now you've moved to a very different role. You're the chief strategist and a diversity evaluation expert for Avatar, which is a fairly well-known company. What is the transformation, and what's this journey, and why something so different, and not to go into something back to financial mainstream?
I thank the Institute and Sri Priya and Kemisha for this wonderful opportunity to be with you all and to wish you first a happy Women's Day. It has always been my pleasure to work with the Women Members Empowerment Committee, and I would never say no to Sri Priya and Kemisha, the two ambitious women who I adore. And Shanu, my most favorite person in the secretariat, who I always keep troubling. And it's always nice to be in this forum because it is a lot to think about what we can achieve and what we've done in the past. I thank the Institute for this opportunity. And to get to your question, Sri Priya, my answer is going to be very different. Whenever I introduce myself after my CV is read out, I start with this sentence: I've been the most unpopular person in my firm. Why? Because I had to make people do a lot of things. I was a change maker, a technical change maker. And I had to get adults trained in new auditing standards and audit methodologies. And I did it for 20 years. And we are talking about behaviors, we are talking about biases, we are talking about microaggression. And therefore, shoot the messenger was the instinct of stalwarts who had their own processes and judgments to perform audits. And the changes came in the standards. After that, I was given a role of rating people, like the peer review system, wherein it was worse to go and tell my senior people saying, the work is not up to the mark. The third role I had was that of managing risk and reputation, to catch people by the hands and say, sorry, you can't proceed with this engagement. So I always felt that while I'm contributing so much technically, I haven't done something which is productive or which is really satisfying my creativeness. And my husband was nudging me to retire at the age of 58 because he's been in industry. And then I said 60, and at 60, I said 62. And when I had this option, a wonderful option, which people thought that Bhavani will not avail this. Why Bhavani? I said, why not Bhavani? So that I will get 5 years and work on something which is close to my heart, which is to try and curtail the attrition of women at mid-age. And Avatar is a place which I have seen for 5 years, where Deloitte got the award of best companies. I have seen their contribution and their work, and I was attracted towards working with them in pursuit of my goal. A total difference, Sri Priya. It is very different from looking at things by exception to looking at things in an encouraging manner, to looking at things to point out observations, from there to move to encouraging people in their diversity journey. It was a total transformation, and I started enjoying this. I made an analysis of what satisfies me, and finally I thought, if I'm able to contribute to the reduction in attrition, at women at the mid-age, I thought it would make a transformation and would work for the betterment of families. And that's why I did it. And knowing my father, who's a taskmaster, today after this meeting, at the age of 92, he will ask me, how was this meeting? How many members were present? So that being the case, and taking after his genes, I've always been wanting to do something useful. And that's why I'm here. And I enjoy my work so much because it satisfies my passion.
Thank you, ma'am. And I'm sure while your policing roles in your earlier organization might have not produced tangible results for you, and I'm sure it made a huge difference to the quality of the firm itself. And it's very nice that you again moved out of your comfort zone to do something different. It appears very refreshing, if I may use the term. So over to Sangeeta, who's our youngest panelist. And Sangeeta, just share with us, how's your journey been from transitioning from a CFO to an author to a leadership coach, and what you call as to cultivate high performance individuals?
Yes, so thank you, Shripriya. Thank you to the ICAI team and everybody to have me, and definitely a happy International Women's Day to everybody out here. So to answer your question, Shripriya, I think I have about 25 years of experience in the corporate. So when I completed around 20 years, I asked myself, what is it that I want? By then people knew me as the CFO. They used to, even now people tease me just calling me a CFO, some close friends. And I was being associated with the organization. I was being associated with the designation and stuff. But deep down, I felt, am I just the CFO? Who am I? What other role can I play? I wanted to be something beyond, and this thought was actually kind of eating me up. So at that time, how I say, I'm an accidental author. So I was never planning to write, and then one thing led to the other, and then I have written a couple of books. So park that aside. So one was this thought that was bothering me. The other was the books that happened, and then I chanced upon coaching as well. At that time, I didn't know who a coach was or what really a coach does. But I was just intrigued by this concept, and then I just went, out of curiosity, I went and saw what it is all about. And then this thought, like I told you, was just eating me up. And I didn't know what should I be doing, though I was happy in the role and everything was quite set. But I just wanted to go beyond, step beyond my comfort zone to see what is it that I can actually do. So that's when I took this pause, and then I started seeing how I can connect the dots, like how Steve Jobs says, So I just started putting things together. So one was like my author, then I'm a professional speaker, and then of course, the CA career and my experience. So I said, how is it I can integrate all of this and do something that's a lot more meaningful to me as an individual, right? So I felt if I'm able to contribute to the success of one organization, how can I go beyond? How can I scale myself and go and impact more organizations, more businesses, and more leaders? So that's when I was, after a lot of thought process, I was able to figure out that, yes, let me work with corporate leaders and teams to enable high performance and enhance financial growth, because I believe HP for HP, that's high performance leads to high profits, right? So if you were to go and look at it from the root cause, I wanted to attack it from the root cause to say how I can enable the high performance of people, especially the leaders, so that the business then gets to grow. So that's when, again, I definitely wanted to put all these things together to see what best I can offer and help people, because this is something close to my heart, to find like a meaningful purpose in what I do. So I guess that's what drove me to this shift.
Thanks so much, Sangeeta. It's actually over to Vishaka. In fact, Madam had mentioned something about being ambitious. I think I'd be more on Vishaka's side in my own personal journey. So just wanted to do something different every day and just landed up here. So I guess it was more serendipity than ambition if today I happen to be in the council or I'm running a very happy practice. So, but I think that's been a nice lesson. If you do if you end up doing whatever you want to do very well, I think the universe just conspires to lift you up, and it's been true of many people around me and all the 4 panelists here today. So it's now over to Bhavna ma'am. If you were to just pinpoint one aspect, what would you think was the highest point of your professional life and personal life? One each.
Professional life has been so long, 45 years. But if I were to just think of one point in my career, which was really very different, was the decision to join BSR and to set up and lead indirect tax practice. I was doing a little bit of indirect tax, but I was also in the direct tax and various other areas. And then when I had to set up this practice, and we all know in a large firm, you have to be a specialist. So you do one area of practice and completely new setup for a very large firm. So it was very interesting, very different. And that helped me in really several aspects, learning, of course, to be in a large firm, dealing with so many people. Earlier also, we used to deal with multinational clients, but here it was a little different. And then while in that indirect tax practice, when we won VAT assignments for state governments, that was perhaps for the first time that Indian states had started giving out assignment for implementation of VAT. And that was really something very unusual and helped me. It did require interaction with international consultants, local consultants, and so on and so forth. But it was really a wonderful experience. And in a sense, it gave me opportunity to grow much more and gain so much of knowledge.
Oh, that's nice, ma'am. In fact, I think there's a very interesting takeaway from what you said. A lot of times people say, look, I've taken a break and I just don't know where to start again. It's perfectly fine to start with something new, and that's something currently happening. So if somebody was on a break, it doesn't take beyond a month to learn up all the GST you need to learn to go and offer this as a service. So, and again, it's an issue of coming out of one's comfort zone that seems to be predominantly, sort of the theme that's coming. For all of us, I'm sure we're very happy doing what we were doing, but we wanted to do something different. So this is to Vishaka. Vishaka, do you think education is equal to empowerment? Do you see the need for anything beyond education and some confidence to feel empowered?
So Sangeeta and Bhavani are going to find it very repetitive, and my apologies in advance, but I don't think education is equal to empowerment at all. I think education is definitely one of the pillars, but then how do you define education? Is education equivalent to qualification, or is education equivalent to an awareness and an ability to make conscious decisions? So if you're defining education as enabling an individual, a woman, man, enabling an individual to be able to assess the situation, to be able to look at the merits and demerits, to be able to understand which of the decisions are being driven through a subconscious pattern and which is being driven through a logical thought through intellect, as they say. In Hindi, there's a beautiful word called buddhi. It's not dimag, it's buddhi. And if education is about teaching people how to use buddhi, intellect, then that's education. And yes, that makes all the difference between being empowered or not. But if it's not that, then honestly, I don't think qualifications alone make a difference unless that qualification is coming along with a whole lot of other things. But I'm one of those people, Sripriya, while I take a lot of pride in my qualification. Okay, I know that when I was younger, my credibility has been established by qualifications. Even today at a speaker, when they introduce that, when they introduce stuff about me, I squirm. I feel so embarrassed almost. But you realize that it is those external recognitions that are adding to your credibility. So qualifications, awards, all of these add to credibility of the individual before the individual has had an opportunity to prove herself. So to that extent, yes, you get the platform. Without that, it becomes even more difficult to get that platform to prove yourself.
Yeah. So you're saying education is a privileged start and empowerment comes after that. So yeah, possibly yes. But I would personally think all of us are far more privileged than most other people. So I get a bit concerned when maybe we start getting into a bit of self-pity or non-accomplishment, and then the term empowerment starts coming. In fact, before you came in, I was mentioning this in my opening speech. I said, people tend to look at women as one huge diffused mass, and then we pick out achievers. It's not so. There are as many women achievers as there are men, and there are as many on the moderate category as there are men. So it's just that that part of it. But thanks, Vishaka. We'll come back to you on this. And
Just to add to that, I think it is about statistics. Since we are all chartered accountants here, this is the bias is on account of the percentages. When you what you do, and I think that's what it is. It's all about statistics. Right?
And maybe we are a lot more reserved in KG. Like you mentioned, when somebody calls out your resume, you're really, you say, okay, make it shorter. But maybe, and today, after listening to you, I understood one thing. Maybe this calling out or reading somebody's resume also serves to inspire a lot of people. And maybe that's something. And that's the same thing about these programs. I'm sure out of the 2,000 odd people who are attending this program, I'm sure this is going to strongly motivate maybe 500, reasonably motivate another 1,000, 1,500. And if I can get 10 leaders after this program, I think the 2 hours was sort of worth it. The next question is to Mrs. Bhavani. Ma'am, glass ceilings, are they real or only in a woman's mind?
A wonderful question, Sri Priya. Glass ceiling. As a diversity and inclusion leader in my stint in Deloitte, this was one of the things which I had to work on many of my colleagues. Because the journey one has to take as a woman to break the glass ceiling is not an easy one, whether it's a myth or a reality, to rise up to those levels. We all know that women are given roles initially to prove themselves and support roles. And then P&L roles are still a question. So depending on what the ceiling is, whether it's a myth or a reality, really works. When a woman can excel in any role which she's in and make a difference, even if her hands are tied behind and she's asked to fight, if she can prove herself in any role which is very different, very unorthodox, and something which people would raise their eyebrows, then the glass ceiling doesn't exist. So the glass ceiling is based on one's perception as to what is a glass ceiling. I keep telling people, you have seen the kind of roles I have played, but you don't know the roles which I was not given. I know it myself. So it's a question of trying to leave that aside and make an attempt every time with a hope that you will succeed on one day. So the crisis in confidence is what is real. When it comes to starting a new process, when it comes to learning something new or asking for an opportunity, the woman has to go all out to make sure that that's a success. Confidence just doesn't arise. One has to develop it through the prior experience, through self-motivation and looking at other role models. And I'm sure such sessions would motivate people, as you said. Steps to tackle the myth on the glass ceiling. I would like to touch on 3-4 points. Obligation, people think, is something which cannot be managed. Remember that 10 days before the lockdown on 21st March, I had to spend 2 hours to formalize a flexi policy, which was encouraged to be adopted by our organization. And then it became the norm. Nobody ever imagined that working from home is going to happen. Limited advancement is the second thing, that you're not able to rise to leadership levels and you're stuck at some level. And there is this problem of tenuring, which women face, because either they went on maternity break or they had taken longer leave than what is allowed for maternity, and therefore you don't get promoted for 1 year, therefore your increments don't happen. I mean, there is so much of scientific analysis to make sure that the woman is indirectly penalized until things changed and the law changed. So that baggage is there for the women who are at mid-senior level today. So the question now is coaching and mentoring. The way corporates and the way other professional organizations are putting their heart and soul to make sure that there is coaching and mentoring for women to rise to leadership is something which, again, is a reality. The gender-based discrimination on managing stereotypes and leadership stereotypes. It is important for us to work on the leadership with inclusive leadership learning to help them drop old views and see what the individual brings to the table. It is work which is being done, but there is a lot more to achieve. And as I said earlier, the confidence in crisis. Even after having a seat at the table, the question is whether the woman has a voice at the table. And that is what the woman has to prove herself towards. You can be offered a seat at the table, and then it's for you to make good use of it, to make your voice heard, whether virtually or in person. And that would depend on the level of grit the woman has and the resilience she is able to display. The more we talk about glass ceiling, Shri Priya, the greater is the disfavor I believe we are doing to ourselves. If an organization is merit-based, which most organizations are, the glass ceiling doesn't exist. And if an organization is not merit-based, then I don't think we need to even pull along with such organizations. So those are my views.
Completely different perspective. I also think there are a fair number of women who are merely sort of caressing the glass ceiling, wondering whether you want to break it at all. Because otherwise I have a life that's so filled with other things that I do and I'm able to manage it. So I'm saying I'll synthesize and give up this one little ceiling. It's fine. I mean, it's never been part of one's life. So, and again, I think that's
very true.
That's a very feminine quality, and able to just let's start all over.
Accept what comes to you and then try to make the best use of it. Right.
Absolutely. Sangeeta, this one's for you. And do women and men professionals think and act similarly? So any insights on why you think we're different? I mean, I can make a huge chart on how I differ from my spouse, but who's obviously more balanced. But any insights on why we are different, where we are similar, what's good, what's not good? And most importantly, what should we emulate from the men?
Right. So I know Vishaka touched upon, and even you added how we squirm at when the profiles are being read. On the other hand, if I were to compare with men, let me give you a simple example. I knew somebody, he was an admin manager, but he used to go around telling the world he was the COO. So you see, the attitude is for men, they like to project themselves a lot better. They like to boast and speak very highly of the achievements, whatever, whether they have it or not. On the other hand, I found women, we like to take a back step. Why? Even simply when applying for jobs, there's this study that's been conducted which says a man, he probably may have only like 60% of, the fitment. But he says, I am the best person, best suited for this job. But when it comes to a woman, she may have up to 90% of it, but yet she's like, focusing on the 10%. Oh, there's still the 10% and I may not be the best fit for it. So that's something I think the way we are wired is differently. Similarly, when I work with corporate leaders, what I have found is men mostly don't like to communicate. It's all there in their head, and it's more like they're very cut and right about what they want to say. Whereas women, we like to talk more, we love to express ourselves better. And similarly, women, I think we tend to get overwhelmed at a lot of things, but a man, he's able to take it in his stride. So that way it's different. But having said that, I think it's these differences, which we need to celebrate, because I think it can complement each other greatly, right? And that's why I think diversity is important, because diversity brings in different new perspectives, and it's not just restricted to gender diversity. It can be like thought diversity, geographical diversity, cultural diversity, and so on, because that's when people can share their perspectives, right? So that makes a lot of difference, and we should know how we need to leverage on our strengths. Whatever be our strengths, by leveraging the strengths, I think that's what helps us to grow further and feel good about our own selves, whatever that we are accomplishing. So I think the key is to leverage on whatever strengths that you have identified for yourself.
Yeah, very true, Sangeeta. And I think it's this difference. There are lots of good things about them. There are lots of good things about us. But I think this is what makes the world go round actually very effectively. But don't know if you agree with me. I think there's one thing that I find with men professionals is their capability to network.
Shripriya, your voice is not coming.
I think
her range.
Okay, I think she was talking about networking, and yes, men definitely tend to network a lot better compared to women, because I think women, we have our priorities. We're probably looking at our house, the other umpteen number of things that we want to do for ourselves. But having said that, I think now women are a lot more opening to starting to network a lot. I mean, and definitely forums like these help, where we are networking with each other, supporting each other, helping each other, and we are there for each other, showing that sisterhood for each other. So I think that is pretty good.
Great, great. So I think Shripriya has some network issue. I'll take it further from here. Still time she comes back. So I would like, Bhavna Ben, I know since last, maybe I'm a student since last 25 years, and she always been a role model for me, because she was there in the Central Council a long time, and maybe the first lady Central Council member of the institute. So Bhavna Ben, when we have done a survey, little survey on that, we have seen a lot of women after taking sabbatic due to marriage or their children or some family issue, and then they are coming back, and then they actually have a fear, because in last 4 or 5 years the technology has advanced and lot of new things have come up, like GST and all those IBC, the valuations, IBBI, and now coming up with SRSB and social stock exchange and lot more. The company law forms are also changing. So what do you suggest, how they can, after taking such a break, as you have already said that you have also learned GST totally new, and but if you can suggest and give your experience, share your experience with all the participants, how can they can take it further after the break?
Yeah, so thank you, Preeti. And I also took a back seat when kids were young. I was fortunate. I actually wanted to take a break. So 6 months I was completely off work. And thereafter, then I had again opportunity to get back, but I worked part-time. Initially only 2 hours a day, and thereafter a little longer. So yes, when you do that, obviously you take a back seat and then you slow down. It's a choice that you make, right? That I want to slow down. Now, during that period, as we were just discussing, during that period, your contemporaries, whether they are men or women, obviously they will be a little ahead because they are working during that period and you are not, or you are working less. So yes, that does happen, but it's a choice that you make. And having made that choice, I think one should not really regret. One always can come back. Life is too long now. So you come back. And the question is, how does one come back? And that's a challenge that many of our young professionals who take a break at an early age face. And today we also find that people, even at a later age, want to come back because they are free now. Children have grown up and they have time, so they can also come back. In fact, you must have read yesterday that there are now companies who are encouraging even first-time career women. So those who did not take up career at all earlier, they are also being encouraged to come back because basically they have the education. They, and particularly if they're CS, they have that education and they can come back and learn that as well. But how do you do that? So the challenge is, first, what have you done during your working life? So when you were working full-time or even part-time, what were you doing? Were you in industry? Were you in practice? If you were in practice, what were the areas you were working on? And what do you now think you will like, you will enjoy, what you will do? Now, there are areas and lots of opportunities are opening up today. And as our panelists also shared, particularly Bhavani and even I forget the name of this other panelist. I think it is Sangeeta, right? So the way they shared, you can do different things. So you may even change track, what you were doing earlier and what you want to do now. Maybe you want to shift to HR today because you've taken a little longer break and you don't want to do your typical technical work. So you may even decide to go into HR. Say you love CSR. That's another area which is opening up. But then whichever area you decide to, depending on what you have done, how much break you have taken, what are your likings, how much are you able to devote today, you decide what you want to do. You'll have to read up, you'll have to study, maybe attend some courses. And I would say the best is to join some study circle, join some groups which are discussing this, or even for that matter, do some specialized courses so that you gain the knowledge and you try to come back. And thereafter, slowly start getting in, maybe you send in your applications and whatnot. So you can slowly start getting into the area that you wish to.
Great.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Vishaka, this one's for you. So you are the CEO. So if you were to talk about the top 4 things which are your most valuable assets in this role, what would they be?
Again, I'm not sure I got the question.
You're in a leadership role. And if you were to just talk about 4 of your attributes that you think are your most valuable assets in managing your team and driving the organization and multiple conflicts, what would they be?
Conviction. Okay.
Great.
Complete 100% conviction in what you're doing, the path that you're following. Then I think taking your team together with you. It's a very, very, very important. I don't think command and control really works from a long-term perspective. If your team is convinced about what to do, you really can just forget about even monitoring them because it becomes their ownership to do it. It's no longer your ownership. When you're looking at it as a chain of command that I have told you so you do it, then there's no ownership. You know, that's something they're being told to do. But when you kind of transfer the ownership because you make them want it as much as you want it, that changes completely. So I summarize that as taking the team at values. You know, I think one of the things that has really, really worked for me is the fact that our company values and my personal values align completely. You know, we don't have, it's not that I have to put on a different hat when I come to office and say, you know what, in the work, these are our value systems. Personally, I have a different value. There is no such conflict. You know, we have some, I think we are one of the very unique companies which have value systems which are action words. You know, we have things like do more, think new, be honest. And so this is not helpful. So they're all action words and they all align completely. So I think if I have to put it on. It's about your own personal value system. It's about your complete conviction in what you're doing. It's about taking the team along with you. And I think truly and truly understanding that the buck stops with you. And understanding and appreciating that when anything goes well, it is the people who've done it. When anything goes wrong, it's really your, that I think that ability to stand up there and hold yourself accountable for things that went wrong. And I think the absolute last one is a very intrinsic motivation. Rewards, recognitions, all of them definitely have to be there to keep on, fueling you. But your primary motivation has got to be intrinsic. It's because you like what you're doing, because you're making a difference, because you enjoy coming to work, because you want to do it. I think that intrinsic motivation just shines through as compared to any amount of extrinsic motivators.
It's really well articulated, Vishaka. And I think in some sense, whatever you summarized is what makes for a credible leadership. And even the way you communicate, it's so obvious that you must be somebody who walks this talk. And so it's very easy for people to align. It's all integrated value systems. So it's not that the two personalities at all. Very, very nice, Vishaka. Thanks. Thank you very much. And Bhavani ma'am, and after this question, maybe just one more question, I'd give it back to Preeti Savla for her if she has any questions. Mrs. Bhavani, so you've run a full-time job, 2 children, one a chartered accountant, one a doctor, and now the grandchildren, and you've been there for your grandchildren. The last time I remember I spoke to you, you were in Canada for your latest grandchild. So how did you manage all of these? Tips and tricks.
I'm not the first woman to multitask. Many women have done this before. What Jacinda Ardern said. I think that was a natural phenomenon which I followed without realizing that. And when it came to managing time, it was to make out lists. Those days when there were no mobile phones, to make Samsung notes, or when there was no such practice, it was always making those small chips. When I used to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, I used to be tensed as to the number of things which I want to do on a particular day. And then I write out chips, classifying them into various aspects. What I should do at home, what are the purchases, what are the meetings I should do, what are the letters to go out. Then you feel that you've achieved something after that 5-minute making the list. And then comes the question of prioritizing urgent, not important, and so on. And then trying to see what you can do and start early. Starting early was the best part of trying to make sure that you cover most of the things when the world is asleep. And that's the best time of the day. All right. The next thing is the art of saying no never came for me. I never learned how to say no. I will never say no to anybody, which is a minus factor. So how do you juggle around all these conflicts, and how do you manage the conflicts, and how do you manage time? I think it's a lot of passion which drove me to do these things. People used to ask, how is it you find time for all this? It's just that I always had a natural phenomenon by which I worked. That is, my work is a change for my household chores. Cooking is a change for driving. Driving is a change for office work. And in office, client service is a change for doing any work on eminence. Technical contribution, which the ICAI opportunities give me, is a change to the drudgery of arguing with clients to convince them on technical matters. So I found a lot of refreshing energy by doing various things. Sripriya, if I was asked to do the same thing, monotony would have killed me. So I always loved to do a lot of things, a lot of creative interest, spending days and nights doing a lot of creative artwork, composing songs for people. And those things gave me that energy. If you ask me who is my chief energy officer, I won't be able to say, because it could be spiritual, it could be social, it could be mental, it could be any of those. But I loved above all that being a people person. So you can imagine, I never had time to think about what is the drudgery of work-life balance, because I just took the day as it went on. Because at the end of the day, your whole list would be unticked. Some days you would tick 70% of the list, but there is one philosophy that you can have it all, but not all at once. So I just used to take it as it is. At the end of the day, we will be able to meet some objectives. So, and I never used to pressurize my team with my, stress on the number of tasks to complete. I used to spread it across people so that they don't feel the stress. And by watching me doing these things, people started multitasking as well. I think it's a ripple effect and a circle of influence went on.
So, and I think what makes it absolutely creditable and noteworthy is that you did it in the age when there was no Zomato, no Swiggy, no Uber, and no Ola. Now,
yes. Simple example. If I had to go to a mess in Mylapore to buy more koramba and parpusli at 10 o'clock in the morning and go and stand in a queue, I'd rather do it at home at 5 o'clock in the morning, and the rest of the day is at my disposal.
Yeah, and now the children are also very happy. So if you're getting late, it's really okay. I mean, they'll make do with Swiggy and So who's laughing all their way to the bank because we're working as all these companies. So that's nice.
And the environment has changed, and I think people who have been used to an old-time lifestyle should also accept that priorities have changed and things have changed.
Sure. Thank you, ma'am. Thanks very much. And this one's for Bhavna Ben. Okay, I'll go with Sangeeta now. And Sangeeta, currently the watchword is corporate governance with all its transformations that it's undertaking, going through, and institutional frameworks getting challenged. And of course, the one theme that we constantly keep talking about is women on boards. But beyond this, do you see something coming from the women's side, women professionals vis-a-vis corporate governance?
So firstly, I think there's definitely going to be a lot more women, as professionals, because times are changing. There are so many excellent role models. I mean, even in this forum, we have Vishaka, we have Bhavani. I mean, all these people we really look up to, right? Mrs. Bhavna, so many of us. So the times are definitely changing. The younger generation is a lot smarter, the women. And I also think the boys who are, getting to be the men, I think they have also realized that, they need to contribute more because the awareness levels is a lot more. So I think there's going to be a lot of support. So firstly, I think there's going to be a lot more women professionals out there. And to answer your question, I think we should not really look at it as a gender-based, be it women on boards or at senior leadership level. It need not be looked upon as just women, but as professionals. Because tell me, have you ever heard of the term like a male leader? But yet, we say women leader, women on boards. We don't talk about men on boards. I mean, so why this gender differentiation? Because end of the day, it's based on your capabilities, what you can contribute, what is the value that you're adding, right? So I think it's time we move away and, slowly phase out from these sort of terms that are related to gender. So to answer your question on the corporate governance, I think prevention is better than cure. So like, how in the IT world, they get hold of ethical hackers, right? So the ethical hackers are then, telling you what are the loopholes and all that. So if we can plug the loopholes in the system and, ensure that prevention is better than cure, at least we are really minimizing the amount of frauds that can happen and enhance the corporate governance. So we need to do that. And also, I think integrity is something, it starts at home. So as parents, if we can nurture the kids right from a young age, lead by example and tell them that integrity is of utmost importance. Your reputation is key. You may be the topper in what you do, but at the same time, integrity is much more important. So if we can, drive across these points, I think that makes a lot of difference. And as a result, the corporate governance could get better. So that is what I would like to share my thoughts on those.
Sure. I think that this women on boards was actually a good idea because with a very large workforce being women, it also in some sense gives a lot of comfort, and to even aspirationally for somebody to look up, there's somebody who's done this before. So for example, so maybe that's one thing. And yeah, but it's also nice to see that, for example, SEBI has its first lady head this time in Madhavi Puri after a very, very long time. I think so insofar as you're prepared for the opportunity and you're excellent in what you're doing, I think this whole concept of leadership, I think, will soon become gender agnostic. So
yes, exactly. So end of the day, it should be based on your merit, your capabilities, what you can contribute, and how, the value that you can add to the organization. So that's exactly like you said, it should be gender agnostic.
Thanks. I'd like to now leave it to Preeti for a few questions, and then we could actually
Sure.
look at the audience questions.
Yeah. Sure. Thank you, Sri Priya. And Bhavna Ben, when just a couple of days we have spoken for this program also, and earlier also, whenever I call you and I request you to give the guidance, what we can do at the Institute for the women professionals, you always give very, very innovative ideas and also give very good suggestions. So here I would like to request you, if you can also convey to all the participants who are actually to how they can take the further, how the ICAI, what opportunities are there, how they can take the benefit of all this, what the ICAI is doing. So if you can, because you have the huge experience of ICAI also, if you can share that.
Thank you, Preeti. ICI, of course, is doing lots and lots for the professionals as a whole. And of course, we have this Women Empowerment Committee. So we also try to encourage women. And as I've always been saying, which I've been telling even when I was in the council, that at every program that we organize, every CPE program, let there be one woman speaker. And people say, why is that necessary? But then I say, why not? Because there are so many women out there who are very good. But unless you pick them out, and as we were discussing earlier, there's a difference between men and women, right? Women will not on their own go out and say, yes, I can do it. Unless somebody picks out and says, yes, why don't you come today and speak? And I had that benefit. In fact, I remember very early days when some of the seniors in the profession will tell me, no, you ask Bhavna to come and speak, on this topic. So that's what gave me an opportunity, even at a very young age, when I had just freshly qualified, to go and speak at seminars and conferences and so on. And which is where you get noticed. If you, of course, you have to put in work, you have to work hard. So if Institute at every CPE program has at least one woman speaker, we'll pick out so many women who will come to the forefront. Another aspect, which is in a sense, sometimes it's taboo. Sometimes women say we don't want to talk about reservation. But I believe that even that sometimes is required. Why? Just take the example of independent directors. How many women were serving as independent directors prior to the SEBI requirement came in? And look at the number of women who are today serving as women directors. It's not that women cannot perform that role or they can not be effective. They can be as effective. But if there is a requirement, something which is mandated by a regulator, per force companies will have to give an opportunity, and that's where women will shine out. So today we have at least need for one women director necessary, of course, independent. But what I would like, and as Institute, what we can do is we can talk about having at least two now, at least a certain percentage of the board to be women directors. And some of the European countries have that requirement, where they have more women, not necessarily just one. And some of the companies on their own are saying that we would like to have two women directors. We'll go with two women directors, which is really something very good, because when they see performance of women, they are very happy. And like we have Vishaka, somebody who's at the CEO position who can influence at different levels. So that's where we are talking of. And even in terms of general, for women development, one is, of course, Institute doing whatever it can in terms of representations and also professional development. We can also think of some developmental activities for women at the Institute, which are more focused towards women. Now we will say, why women? But I think it's also necessary, and it helps development of women. So what I was talking to you about, and perhaps maybe you, Shripriya and Kemisha, can think about it, is to organize an international tour, say somewhere like a European country, where only for women, where you interact with women there and understand how they are doing things differently, or why and how their regulator is doing things differently, which will also help us get some thoughts, some ideas which will inspire women. And perhaps we can come back and take it back to our regulators and, of course, our own institute. So perhaps these are the things which are, maybe it may sound a little far-fetched today, but that's something which can help. I have seen even at international level, whether it is UN or any other international body, they also have this diversity, World Bank. They also have this diversity where they insist that whenever they have formed groups or committees, at least one woman must be there. And that is why how I had opportunity to serve on one of the international panels. Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Okay, suddenly my screen has gone. Okay, so I had this opportunity of serving in an international committee, which had people from, one person from each of the continents, and I was representing India. So it was really wonderful there. And I was there, perhaps one of the reasons was that they wanted diversity. All other were men and they wanted a woman. And to the extent that they were so happy, the chairman was so happy.
You're good, ma'am. You're very, very audible and visible, just as it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what he wanted, the chairman of the committee wanted that I should continue, I should take over as vice chair, chair, and continue to serve that committee, which was really doing fantastic job. Of course, our institute has certain policies at that time, and it didn't permit me to go ahead. But it was at least wonderful being there and working and making our presence felt. And I'm sure it would have made so much difference. They would have seen that from India also, women professionals are there. They have the ability to deliver and interact at such international forums and contribute. So I think that's where the institute can certainly
Great.
help.
Before you go to the next
Great deliberation.
Yeah.
Great deliberation.
Sorry.
Great deliberations, and taking this forward, as Bhavna Bin has said, there has to be one faculty in a one faculty as a women faculty in a seminar. So I request the participants, if they are willing to be the faculty, please feel free to write to us, connect to us, any of the council member or Shri Priya or me or the secretariat, so that we can take it further. In fact, me and Shri Priya were discussing about FDP, that is Faculty Development Program also, so that we can develop more women faculties. Yeah, Shri Priya, you wanted to add something on this?
Yes, no, it is more a statistical quiz. Very interesting. I just got a message from the office that we've just made it. We've crossed 2022 participants. So it's just thinking it is interesting because this is our first program for the year and we are in the year 2022. So
great. So true celebration of Women's Day, I can say. Anyways, taking it further, I know CARM Vishakha madam, and whenever I have invited, even during my chairmanship at the region, she was always available. However, we were planning to have a physical program at Delhi, but she was already blocked for some another session which was there from 3:30 to 5:30. However, due to this this online platform and this digital transformation, it was possible to make herself available for this panel discussion. So my question to you, Vishakha madam, see, what is the impact of this digital transformation for women professionals, whether it is really helpful or harmful, and what will be the way forward?
I think the impact, like any change, right, is about how you harness it. You know, you can use it to destroy yourself or you can use it to empower yourself. And if used wisely, I think it's a huge boon. You know, when Bhavani was talking, there were references made by Sri Priya that, you know, in that time we didn't have Zomatos, we didn't have Swiggies, we didn't have outsourced. But you know what? We didn't have cell phones, we didn't have laptops, we didn't have the internet either. So the world was a more easier place to manage also. You know, you had very clear boundaries. You were in office, you were working, you were at home, you were not working. Now the entire boundaries between work and personal are all blurred. So it is now dependent completely on an individual's capability to use technology to prioritize and to be able to get more work done because of what technology has enabled. It is up to us to be able to use technology in a manner that we are empowered. You know, if technology has enabled my participation without having to travel, technology has enabled that you know, we can cut down on 2 to 3 hours of travel time in a place like Bombay. Technology has enabled that I don't need to cook a meal every day. Technology has enabled connect across, you know, we no longer Sat Samundar Par kind of a thing. I mean, we are as much a phone call away to anybody, anywhere in the world. Technology has enabled so much, but if you don't harness it well, you know, it's like, as I said, it's like anything else. It's like fire. You know, don't harness it well, it can burn you. Because technology, you're always connected, always. So if you don't know your own boundaries, if you're not disciplined, you know, Bhavani ma'am rightly said that she used to get up early in the morning and finish a lot of things. Technology does not now demand that you get up early in the morning, but technology demands discipline of a different sort. It demands discipline of being able to prioritize when you're off social media. It demands discipline of not getting into Facebook and then getting lost in it. It demands discipline of not getting into searching for one article and ending up spending 3 hours reading everybody's posts and reading your own posts and liking it. So I think if you have the basic qualities, which is again prioritization and discipline, you can harness technology to make a better world for yourself. I'm a big believer that technology is a boon, not a bane. But like everything else, it needs to be harnessed well and used well so that it can actually, you can actually derive the benefits that technology offers.
Great. So because of technology only, we are able to actually get all the panelists over here at one on the one screen and deliberating lot of these things. So great. So again, coming to Bhavani madam. See, you have seen all the sides, like now you are a chief strategist, earlier with Big Four, and handling as a partner, handling the team and also knowledge, talent, everything. So how do you align the expectations and aspirations of the people at the work as well as at your family? And how you are able to manage the main constraint is time and the expectations, aspirations. So if you can guide participants.
Whenever I was given a role in my office, which is beyond client service, the then leader always had a relief that Bhavani will handle it somehow. And it was to start from nothing. And many a time I spent my entire tenure in a role explaining, defining what that function is. Until the last day, I was defining diversity and inclusion as the first slide. So starting from there and moving on and to create things out of nothing came to me as a natural course. So the aspirations is whatever happens, Bhavani will be able to deliver on the commitment. So that was the aspiration in office. It's just 22 years that I missed my Diwali to go for training to the Asia Pacific office because it was always fixed on the day before Diwali or the day after Diwali because the whole world was free at that time except India, and India was only one country. So that was how I managed to meet the requirements, because if I miss 1 year, our practice is going to miss 1 year of opportunity and 1 year of learning. And the second thing was always to put up your hand in enthusiasm to say, we will implement a pilot project so that you get in advance a chance to learn 1 year ahead of the others. So that is how I propelled my own aspirations with the firm's aspirations. And I always felt that we should perform well. So it became a norm that once she is there, she will handle it and we will get good results. So that was the aspiration from my colleagues. The aspirations at home, whatever happens, Bhavani is very enthusiastic and she will make sure that everything is done. So that became the story. To share with you all, my mother said that we allowed her to get educated because we had the facility. But if you don't want her to go to work, she will stay at home. My father was a visionary and visioned that I should become a partner of the firm at some point. I was told that my husband did not want a working person. So how do you manage all these three aspirations? To probably think of creating a vision, a common vision, to take charge of 4 aspects: your own self-development, your career development, within the boundaries what you can, and then seeing what the family would require, making a comprehensive plan to whatever extent you can, and keep on replanning to achieve a vision. I always made sure I created allies at home. My mother-in-law was my closest ally. She will monitor the files which I have not seen, which I brought home. And I didn't work on it in the night, but was busy making a sweet. She will come in the morning and tell me, you didn't look at these files. How will you manage? So she was my greatest ally. So creating allies at home and creating allies at workplaces was something. The choice of career model today and the career stage is multifold. It's not like what we had. Look at the gig economy. Look at the opportunities for second career women. So one can create a vision wholesome with the family aspirations. Destiny is not a matter of choice. It's not a matter of chance, but a matter of choice today. Nothing is to be weighted, but everything is to be achieved, according to William Bryan. And today, I would say that aspirations are high for everybody, but opportunities are also very high. So all we can do, like senior people like me and Bhavna, can only motivate the youngsters, but sky is the limit. They are born to reach the sky and they should not settle for the stars.
Great, excellent, I can say. So this was an excellent piece of advice and sharing your experience, wholesome experience. Coming to Sangeeta, as per the theme, that is empowerment to excellence. Women are already empowered. How they should excel in the life? If you can share your experience into this.
So firstly, I think excellence is something very personal to each woman, because to excel, you may want to excel in your career. You would want to excel in your personal front, excel in your relationship, excel in your financial goals. So, it is a holistic thing. And to each person, this ratio would vary. So the key is to see how much you want to excel in each field. The life itself, if you were to put it in one box, each of these elements comprise different aspects within the box. So firstly, define what excellence means to each of you, to your individual self, something that's very core to you. So once you define that, find out what your purpose is. What is it that resonates with you? What is it that you'd like to do, and where do you want to be headed? Because if you don't take this pause and reflect and ask yourself these questions, sometimes you just get carried away and you're not sure what is it that you want to do. So therefore, I would urge everybody to firstly know what your purpose is. Second, like Vishaka said, prioritize. She spoke about the digital thing, but prioritize what's important for you for whatever that you do in each sphere, right? What is that you want to do, and how can you get closer to the goals that you want? So second thing is to prioritize, right? The third thing, of course, is on your performance. How can you maximize your performance in each of these spheres? Because to excel and to be successful, all these roles matter. You can't say I'm a success in my profession and be a failure in your personal life, right? So it's a combination of everything. It's after all one life. So you will have to see how you can maximize yourself your performance in each and everything. Now, if you read the book, The Inner Game of Tennis by Timothy Halvey, he's beautifully said, your performance is nothing but the difference between your potential and your interference. So how is it you can set aside the interference from your own self, right? If you put that aside, then automatically your potential is at maximum and therefore you perform at your peak. So the third thing is your performance. And the fourth thing which I would like to say is to look at painless ways. It's a cheap way, because it's not necessary you have to struggle in every sphere to achieve your best. So look at ways and means by which you can bypass, and something that you don't consider it to be painful, because if it's something that's painful, you would not enjoy the process. It's equally important that while you're excelling, you're enjoying it, right? You really live through it. So to answer your question, the 4 P's is what I would like to say. That is your purpose, to prioritize your performance, and the pain-free ways that you can achieve what you want to achieve, to excel in what you want to do. Over to you, Preeti. We can't hear you.
So excellent. That are the 4 P's what you have summarized. Again, taking it summary of all the panelists. So better than the best, never give up, the passion and the analysis, root cause analysis, the hard work, the smart work, the coaching, we should have a mentoring. So these all really goes well and gives lot of inputs to all the participants. We welcome here the President's respected Honorable President Sir and Vice President Sir over here. So welcome, sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Please. Yeah, so along with, we also have Central Council member Rajendra Kumar P. So welcome, President Sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, please.
Just a bit.
So please. So we have a rapid fire round, but that way we'll do this rapid fire round after the address of President and Vice President, sir. And I would like to share with all of you that we had today a very, please come. We also have a Central Council member with us, CA Umesh Sharma, also from the Western region. So please, Umesh bhai, come over here and take a seat. Again, I would like to share that today we have celebrated in the morning our International Women's Day in an excellent manner. And I would like to share with all of you that our own president, sir, has given our his free hand to do the lot of activities for Women Empowerment Committee also. And he has said that he has to see that the women in the profession excel in their professional career. So I would like to request office to please share the screen today about a photo of today mornings where CAG as well as the president and the various council members of Institute of Chartered Accountants of Maldives were there, as well as is also president in CAG office, Comptroller and Auditor General at Maldives, and that there where we have celebrated. I will not take much time because Vice President, President are there. We also have one of the youngest Vice President of Institute this time. So I would request both of them to address first, starting with CA Aniket Sunil Talati, Vice President ICAI.
Aniket, before you start, I would just like to have a word. President Sir and Vice President Sir, here's a very hearty welcome to this evening's program. We were just mentioning a few minutes back that this is the year 2022, and we actually crossed 2022 participants in this program. So, and we're about 2,200 people who've logged in. And I think it's been a stunning evening. And if I were to just summarize, I think half our work of the committee has been accomplished today. If this is not inspiration with these 4 women, I don't know what will be. So very nice of you and very honored by your participation this evening. And he's our chief guest, the sun from the east.
Thank you so much, the respected chairperson of the Women Empowerment Committee, Shri Priya ji, the vice chairperson, Preeti Savla ji, most respected past council member, Bhavana Doshi ji, the two other speakers who are here, in fact, three of them, and all the lady members who are attending this seminar. Let me first of all begin by wishing all of you a very, very happy International Women's Day. I think it is very important that as a profession, but more importantly as an individual, we celebrate women. The women in our profession especially have been breaking barriers over these decades, ensuring that not only do they fulfill the personal responsibilities that are cast upon all the women, but also excelling in their professional lives in so many spheres. It may be practice, it may be industry, it may be direct tax, indirect tax, insolvency, valuation. Everywhere that one goes today, we are seeing women at the helm. I think it is so overwhelming and so pleasing for me as the vice president, but more importantly, as a very proud husband of a woman chartered accountant and a father of two daughters, to see that our women are excelling in all these fields. I think the barrier which has been there for so many years in terms of entering the profession, I think slowly and gradually we are seeing the sheer number of students which are taking up the course of chartered accountancy. And more importantly, now the number of women chartered accountants who are qualifying. You would all have seen the press releases of the institute when the results are out and the rank holders when they are announced. I think majority of the time they are lady or women who are qualifying at the top. The past percentages are also better. And I am sure the SDG 5 that is talked about, that women equality, when we talk about giving equal opportunities to both genders, ensuring we're empowering our women and girls, I think the institute is leading from the front by having such a huge membership of women chartered accountants, but more heartening to see so many more girls joining our profession and a bigger percentage of them as compared to the boys qualifying and becoming chartered accountants. I think we can all see the day not very far from today where we will probably have an equal number of male and female chartered accountants. And I think it's a matter of great pride for us as this 25th council, which is going to celebrate the 75th year of the profession. We have the wonderful banner of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, the digital banners and the physical banner behind us, where we are celebrating 75 years of independence. And I'm sure that when we are doing this, the very important celebration is the celebration of women. And in this council, we are privileged to have 3 lady council members. So Bhavna, when you were probably a small minority when you were in the council, but we are extremely pleased to see Shri Priya ji, Preeti Ben and Kemisha ji, 3 lady council members. I think the day is not far when we will have this proportion going up. With these words, I would like to once again compliment the WMEC for taking up this very important seminar, having such phenomenal faculties addressing and more importantly, inspiring lady chartered accountants on this International Women's Day. I once again extend my warmest wishes to all the participants and wish all of us a very, very happy Women's Day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vice President, sir. And now we are very, very eagerly waiting to hear our respected President, sir. I would request President, sir, to please address us.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Preeti. The chairperson of this committees, I can see on the screen, Shri Priya Kumar, the vice chairperson, Preeti Savla, the Honorable Vice President of the Institute, Aniket Talati, Rajendra Kumar, Prasanna Kumar, Umesh Sharma, Durgesh Kabra, Madam Bhavna Doshi on the screen. She was a former council member of the Institute, and Madam R.M. Vishaka, C.A. Bhavani, C. Sangeeta Shankaran, and to everybody else who are listening to us, a very happy International Women's Day. Such a great pleasure to be amidst all of you. And let me tell you, we are so proud of the achievements of our women members, of our women students. Today, about 44% of our students are ladies. About 24% of our membership are women. And as my vice president said, the rank holders, whenever we see open the results, you see the most rank holders are ladies. So you see, it gives a great pride for us that the women members are doing so well. All the three, Bhavna ji, you will be very happy to note that all the three lady council members, Preeti, Sripriya and Kemisha, they are doing very well in their respected fields. And you see, the council is taking full advantage of their talents. Today in the morning, the delegation from Maldives was here. CA Maldives. They were there from CA Maldives. The accountant general of Maldives was here, and they had 2 or 3 ladies amongst them. And when we were discussing, we were taken to we were surprised that they were talking about sustainability. Those of us who were hearing me, maybe you see, all of us, we have grown up with this fixation for the financial results. But today they were talking about sustainability. And let me tell you how happy I am that the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India is doing so much of work on sustainability reporting standards. We had a meeting of that standards board today, and I was amazed to see how much work they're doing. Technology, I and the vice president, we just met the Union Minister of State for Finance. And that's why we could not join you at 5 o'clock. And he was praising the institute, saying that you have become a huge body. And he was saying that because of your technological expertise, how much you can help the government of India. So you see, we are doing everything possible to be really a sincere partner in nation building. And let me tell you tell all those who are listening to me, financial and tax literacy is something that we are doing to see that, our footprints are not only there in the urban areas, but we reach out to the rural areas too. And this financial and tax literacy we are doing in 12 languages, reaching out to common households, trying to teach them the basics of finance and tax. And, today when we were talking to the Union Minister of State, he was saying that how much more you can do. Please join hands with the government of India for this project that you are doing. So we are doing our very best to see that, along with us as we grow, as the institute grows, and you will be happy to note that we are the second largest accounting body in the world. And the ladies who are the speakers today would also be happy to note that, you see, not only we have grown in India, we have 164 branches in India, but we have grown beyond the frontiers of the country. In the sense that we have 44 overseas chapters, 29 overseas representative offices. We are present in 73 cities of the world. So that is the way the institute has grown. We have become a big global institution. But let me congratulate all of you on this Women's Day that we celebrate today. And to us, it is not only celebrating the gender, but I think we celebrate excellence. We celebrate integrity, and we also celebrate independence when we celebrate the Women's Day today. I wish all of you the very best, and needless to mention, the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India will be always working very closely with its women members to see that, you see, not only the profession, but the institute's flag is kept flying very, very high. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, President Sir, for the support which has been extended by you for women members, and also appraising about what the Institute is doing at branch level, at regional level, at national level, as well as at international level, which actually gives a lot of opportunity for all the women members now at sitting with the digitalization, sitting at home, sitting at their own place, and being global. global. So thank you very much for appraising all these things for the to the members and to all the participants. Again, one more thing I would like to tell over here is one of our members, CA Shruti, she is from Western region, but she is in Ukraine at Hungary, and she is actually supporting to rescue the members of India who are being there.
Yes.
So she is actually our privilege that she is doing such a kind job for India as a nation as a whole. So thank you very much, and let us now move ahead with our rapid fire round. And thank you very much, sir. So
thank you very much, President, sir, and look forward to doing some phenomenal work in this committee this year. We've outlined a couple of initiatives and look forward to your guidance and support.
All the very best, Shripriya, and all the very best, Priti.
Thank you.
Thank you for all the good work that you are doing. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And thank you, our own Vice President, sir, also being here and addressing the gathering. Thank you.
Sir, there is 2 more chartered accountants, girl chartered accountant, and boy chartered.
So now let us go ahead with the rapid fire round. So here in rapid fire round, we have already circulated to the panelists, and each one will be answering. Each the panelist in the order of Bhavna Ben, Vishakha Madam, Bhavani Madam, and Sangeeta Madam will be answering in 1 or 2 words, the answers in 1 or 2 words. So the first rapid fire round, Bhavna Ben, to you, to each one again, the panelist, I'll not repeat again the question. What are the emerging areas in the profession? The emerging areas in the profession.
ESG, environment, social and governance, and I would say CSR.
Superb. Great. ESG, environment, social and governance, and corporate social responsibility, and both goes in hand. And we are also SEBI is coming up with social stock exchange also, and there are a lot more opportunities in these areas. I request Vishakha Madam. Vishakha Madam, over to you. 2 emerging areas.
In terms of what? Accounting profession?
Profession, yeah. Profession as a whole.
To answer that. If you ask me from a perspective of financial services and insurance in particular, then I would say I think sharper risk management, which I think is becoming a very critical aspect, and people are beginning to be aware. I think I will stick to a sharper focus on risk management, and specifically with cyber risks.
And forensic, perhaps.
Yeah, risk management and forensic, what I understand, right? Yeah. So please, Bhavani Madam.
I'd like to base my answer on Cognizant's Job for the Future Index, algorithm-based audit, and cyber calamity forecasting. So these are 2 specific areas.
Superb, superb. And Sangeeta ma'am.
I would say it is valuation, considering the number of startups that are coming up. So valuation specialist, and probably also RERA, that is Real Estate Regulatory Authority.
Excellent. Superb. So all these emerging areas, great. Again, the next rapid fire round. What are the challenges you have faced in the life, Bhavna Ben? 2 challenges, most important challenges, which has changed everything you have faced in life.
I'm talking only of professional life. So one, of course, is the bet bids that we were doing, the bidding for VAT assignments with the state government. And another was, of course, in the AS Accounting Standards Board, getting the consensus from so many stalwarts when we were taking up some new standard formulation.
Okay. Vishakha Madam.
An unstable regulatory environment and fraud prevention.
Bhavani Madam.
Being a change maker for 3 decades, when there was rapid transformation within the organization and in the professional environment. And the second thing is dealing with heritage as a baggage. people looked at me as a mirror image of my father. So to get out of that and establish individuality was a tough thing.
Okay, great. And Sangeeta ma'am.
For me, it was managing both my career growth and my family, because both the responsibilities kept rising simultaneously. It was quite a tough phase. And the second thing would be my own self, where I realized I wanted to step out of the corporate world after 25 years, but I had so much of resistance within me that yeah, finally I took the plunge.
Excellent. So in spite of these challenges, these professional women are at the helm of their affairs and at the pinnacle of the career. Excellent. So what are the key takeaways you would like to convey to the participants which has converted challenges into the opportunities? Bhavna.
Yeah. First of all, I think one needs to be optimistic. And as Churchill once said, that an optimist sees opportunity in every difficulty. So that's one. And of course, mindset change.
Okay. Vishakha ma'am.
Believe in yourself. Nobody else knows you as much as you know yourself. So continue to constantly believe in yourself and be your best friend.
Okay. Bhavani ma'am.
Patience to wait for the opportunity, perseverance to make sure that you excel in everything, and persistence to get your views through. And the next thing is to quote Sheryl Sandberg, when you get a seat on the plane, don't ask what seat, just jump in it.
Superb. Sangeeta ma'am.
To think differently, you don't have to box yourself within stereotypes. So think differently and shift your perspectives, because when you look at something from different angles, different solutions emerge. So shift your perspective.
Excellent. If all of you can describe in one word about your life journey. Bhavna.
Exciting.
A roller coaster.
Yes.
A roller coaster ride.
Oh, excellent.
Full of challenges and conflicts, including calendar conflicts.
Sangeeta ji.
Adventurous.
Oh, superb. It goes superb. One word that you think you should be paramount to be a lady CA.
Don't give up.
I didn't understand the question.
One attribute that you think is paramount to a lady chartered accountant or any lady professional. It was all over your session, so you can even skip it if you want. I mean, I could say it for you. I mean, this conviction.
Yeah, I don't think there's any one gender-based parameter at all. I think this is very gender neutral in terms of being a professional. But if I have to take away, I'm hearing more and more instances of women, not being as professional as they used to be. While we had the challenge of having to prove ourselves, now when women are getting an opportunity because of so many changes, I hear cases of women not really being professional. I think my urge, sincere request is please be professional. Women still represent the entire gender when they don't do things well. Unfortunately, a man is not judged on the way. Ravi Subramaniam does not represent the entire male community. Chitra Ramakrishnan is being judged as not standing up for her entire gender. So that is a responsibility we still have. And I think I urge people to consider that as a responsibility.
Great. Bhavani ji.
Be authentic. Be true to yourself, stand out for values, and make sure that you are able to push your thoughts across, firmly yet politely.
And Sangeeta ji.
Put your best foot forward and see how you can step out of your comfort zone to achieve what you want to achieve.
So last message, if you want, there's a last rapid fire, and if you want to convey our participants, our beloved participants on the occasion of this Women's Day, if you want to convey a message, a single message, all of you, I request all of you to give a message so that they can take it further.
I guess all of us have through our sessions spoken a lot of things. So I think gist of that would be what the participants would take home. But I would say that, I mean, of course, one word is very difficult, but just as so many of us have been saying, be true to yourself, don't give up, look at the challenges, variety of things.
Great, because yeah, please continue.
I would like to leave behind a message of don't have regrets. Please, for God's sake, do not go back and judge your actions that you took at that time from the perspective of today. Hindsight is 20/20, and it's simply not right to go back and judge yourself, your younger self, with your current mature self. We all take the best decision possible under the circumstances that we are in. None of us want to make wrong decisions. If the decision goes wrong, don't blame yourself for it because you did the best you can. So no regrets. If you've done your best, do not have regrets.
Perfect.
Let not anybody fix the date of expiry of your dreams. You shall fix it.
Or maybe we won't fix it at all. So, better.
Excellent. And Sangeetaji.
Do not undermine your own potential because you never know what you're capable of unless and until you try it. So just go for it.
Super.
Be positive.
Be positive. And a lot of things have been discussed, deliberated, and lot of takeaways have been given by all the panelists, and it was very rightly said by all the panelists. Be positive, don't give up, and but I would add to that, just don't forget, otherwise what will happen to our session and we have taken it, but follow all these things in your life, whatever these panelists have said, so we will feel that whatever investment of time, energy we have done, that will really worth it. I can say everything is possible when you are crazy about it. Nothing is possible when you are lazy about it. And with these words, I would request our chairperson of WMEC, she is Shri Priya Kumar, to please sum up and give very, very well-deserved vote of thanks to all our panelists.
Thanks. Thank you so much, Preeti. And at the outset, to all the wonderful women out here, this was a delightful evening. My best in a very, very long time. I really enjoyed it. It's a very nice quote that's always inspired me. It's by somebody called Jack Kerouac, and it's from a book that's called On the Road. And he's from the Beat generation, the 1960s. And he goes on to say, I saw that my life was a vast, glowing, empty page, and I could fill and I could do anything I wanted. So effectively to say it's a huge blank page and you can just fill it. And I found this particular thing very, very inspiring all the time. So I think it was a great session. We set our limits. You want to set your limits, set it. When we were talking about what is the one thing that was asked of all the panelists, I'm going to take the liberty of describing that one thing. I think it's to be happy. Whatever you do, it doesn't, all of us don't have to be CEOs, CFOs. We don't have to be what others are. But if at some stage, every night you can go to bed being happy, I think that's precisely the essence of this life, and you'd have run it well. In terms of what I understood, I think some of the things, if you have to answer this question, what's in it for me in this program? I think this is how I would summarize it. Comfort zone, conviction, willingness to learn, a vision, the ability to create allies, team skills, own your responsibility. I really liked what Vishaka said. It says the buck stops with me. Credibility. I think it's very important for women professionals to be that extra credible because that's expected of you. Identification of purpose, prioritization, performance, pain-free. And in that, I just want to add one more P. Other than being pain-free, you should also be painless. So, be nice to people. So, and thank you one and all for a wonderful evening. Thank you, Vishaka. Thank you, Bhavna Ben. Thank you, Sangeeta. And thank you, Bhavani ma'am. Thanks, everybody. And look forward to meeting you in person.
Thank
you, Priya, and thank you, Preeti. You both were amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Oh,
And to all the wonderful people who stayed back to watch this program, I hope you had your share of the happy moments today. So,
yeah. Thank you, Bhavnavin. Thank you, Vishaka Madam, Bhavani ji, and Sangeeta ji. And we look forward to again and again invite you here at our women programs and other programs also. And I thank all the participants, and I am sure all of have had a very good takeaways with this. I wish you excellent year going forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.
Thank you all. Bye. Bye.